So this is the wallet working session. I'm Pacu. I'm the newly Zcash community wallet developer, and I'm with Addy from Nighthawk Apps. And today we're going to talk a little bit about wallets. Do you have the?
I guess the clicker is there.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's get going. So we've said that the feature has not been written, and we're also adding up that the features have not been written yet. So what we're going to do is a little bit of workshop about the different wallets, Edge, Nighthawk, the newly announced Sashi, which is the Zcand, codenamed Zcand wallet from ECC, Unstoppable, which is a multi-coin wallet, Y Wallet, and Zingo Labs. What we have done to create this, this part of a workshop is that we did this little workflow where we created a new wallet, funded with T funds, and then we loaded it into the different wallets, following the same workflow for each one of them, and we gathered like the feedback, and we saw and compared how the wallets behaved. Then once the wallets were synced, we shielded to those T funds to sapling. So this little walk around the wallet has like a few sections. The first part is about key management. All the wallets manage their keys. They're non-custodial wallets or self-custody wallets. And in this comparison matrix, we're going to go through the different features of this kind of like theme or epic of wallets, if you want to look at in terms of like Scrum development. And you can see that most of the wallets have the same features around creating or restoring keys. And then there are some differences around cloud backup of the private keys. So in terms of having the user back up the wallet, some of them offer like a message saying that you need to back up the keys. Others also offer a little bit of puzzle to actually exercise the backup and make sure that the user has backed up the keys correctly. And for example, other wallets actually offer like an extra, like effortless way of like saving the private keys to the cloud. In the case of Edge, they have like a passphrase that you create some kind of a user that is only visible to you, and it will help you to restore your keys. It is still like self-custody, like there's no way that you can recover that, but it's still like recoverable from the cloud. And then on the case of Unstoppable, they offer like Google Cloud or iCloud Cloud. And we have also Nighthawk providing some of that, right?
Yes, so Nighthawk allows the user to choose to have a secured, password-secured PDF copy of their seed words, and then manually the user can decide which cloud provider or offline device they want to save those seed words to.
Good, yeah, something we have discussed is that this is like the effortless, easier workflow, but it also has its downsides regarding like what happens if your password gets compromised, or you have this like iCloud or Google Cloud in many devices, like your seed phrase would be stored in many devices or be accessible in like in your family iPad, for example, something like that.
Correct. So unlike like a bank where you can still have a backup of your transaction history, and here we're talking about a self-custody solution. So users storing large amounts of ZEC and cryptocurrency need to be educated about maybe moving large funds to another wallet, like a paper wallet or a hardware wallet.
Yes. Then on the receiving funds side, like this is kind of a current typical pattern of crypto, which is like receiving funds through a QR code or being able to copy your address to to the clipboard to share it over some email or Signal or whatever messaging. All the wallets have the same functionality here. And then around sending funds, there are also like the known patterns around like scanning in a QR code from another wallet, being able to paste an address from the clipboard, validate those inputs because you can actually get the wrong thing, or for example, like if you go over the top on a counter, maybe there are many QR codes and you have and the readers usually pick up whatever. So you have to validate that as well. Then the thing comes with the payment URIs that are those like URIs to addresses or kind of like schemes to prepare a transaction for someone. Like for example, Zpages uses these URI schemes.
Yeah.
And although they are specified and yeah, they have been around for a while, not many wallets are actually supporting them clearly. And I think one of the teams that did the effort was yours.
Yeah, we did implement it in the Android version of our app and tested it with Zpages. It does make it easy, right? So instead of the user manually going to the send flow, entering the address, entering the amounts, and entering the memo, you can all have it preset per the ZIP 321 standard. The edge case that exists is the ZIP 321 allows multiple addresses and multiple recipients in the format. And currently, we don't have send to many implemented. Like the feature has not been written yet.
Yeah. Yeah, something to note here is that to make this comparison, we took the App Store's versions up to last week, like end of July. And for the case of Sashi, we used the development or the main branch of the repo, which is open source. And yeah, you might see discrepancies because they're, being actively developed. So if you see a feature that maybe it is actually there, it could happen.
Yeah, we have enough wallet competition now to see features being caught up to.
And then the balance is where it gets spicy because we have many pools and we have the transparent, the sampling, the orchard. So, and also node management. We have this thing with pending funds where the behavior is different depending on what the wallets do. For example, Zingo is the one that is eagerly trying to catch all the transactions. It gets the transparent funds as soon as you receive them. It pokes the mempool quite often, and then you have Edge or Nighthawk or Sashi that they track locally the outgoing transactions, and then they catch incoming pending funds when the transactions are confirmed. And for example, for pending transactions or pending funds, Unstoppable and Y Wallet, they don't show the pending transaction as quick as the other ones. And on the contrary, the only wallet that actually has a pro Sodler version of it is Y Wallet, which lets you pick the nodes that you want to involve in every transaction. Usually the wallets have an algorithm that picks the nodes in a way that is more efficient or safer in terms of privacy. But it's a black box, and you cannot choose it. And Y Wallet does have that option, but you have to go to the advanced mode that has a lot of things and do it. Then the transaction history and details is mostly as any other crypto wallet is all the known, the typical list that you can drill into with details. Every wallet does the same thing. And then in syncing, there's we have the upcoming parallel sync and DAG sync with fast spendability. But for our study, we use the current App Store versions or Google Store versions, and we have like linear sync, warp sync, and blade sync. And like the main difference, besides like the syncing times, which is like pretty noticeable, is the way that you can see the progress. Linear sync is like predictable. You know which block you're syncing, and you know how long or how much far off the tip of the chain you are. And with the non-linear sync, that's kind of a mystery, and it's a little bit lacking of how to convey the progress to the user. Zingo has a dedicated screen for that, which is really helpful. And Y Wallet has the warp sync, which is it's leaping from node to node, from commitment to commitment, and it's kind of like really jumpy. It's kind of unclear to see how long it takes, but since it's kind of like probably relying on being really quick, it's noticeable that maybe it's lacking on that part of the UI, but it would be a nice thing to research how to show a good progress indicator for non-linear algorithms of syncing. That's probably what's coming. Then the other features is where the wallets start to show their true faces and the users they're targeting. For example, auto shielding is one of the like key features of Nighthawk. This is the only one like implementing it, and then Zingo also does it a little bit different, or used to do it when it was just launched, when it was a pure Zec wallet fork that was like piggybacking, shielding transactions with other transactions, but I don't think it does it anymore. And Nighthawk does that differently. Well, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we have a hard threshold set of 0.1 Zec. If a user's transparent address receives more than 0.1 Zec, we trigger a screen that starts auto-shielding, that is sending the Zec amount from the transparent address to the shielded pool, the user's shielded address. While this is convenient, it does block the user from using the wallet because we have a 10-block confirmation requirement before you want to spend the Zec again. So we want to explore on how to change that, and there are various ideas of exploring the diversified addresses to make that process simpler.
Yeah. Yeah, currently, I think that internal transactions, if it is your own like transparent Zec, it's safe to have less confirmations. And then the other interesting thing is like being able to support Zec exchange or facilitate it. There's a slight difference because Edge is a multi-coin wallet and actually has the ability to exchange Zec in the app, like using their own methods. And then the other app that lets you exchange Zec for other coins is Nighthawk, but that's a little bit more different. It's just another kind of approach.
Yeah, we do rely on our third parties, SideShift and StealthX. We plan to integrate with a couple more, but they are based off supporting only non-US IP addresses. We like the fact that we can onboard any user who has an existing cryptocurrency to get their first Zec and experiment with shielded transactions.
Yes, and then there's the support for other coins, which is like Edge, Unstoppable, are multi-coin wallets. Unstoppable is more like a trading application. It has a trading school. It has this other features. And then Y Wallet also supports YEC, Ycash, and I've seen some tweets from Han that he's like teasing and sending like QRs from Bitcoin and other coins. So apparently there are more coins coming that way. Then the wallets have, this is like the part of a product design or like product development, where the wallets start differentiating each other in terms of the users that they want to support. For example, some of them have address books or market insights, where, for example, trading apps like Unstoppable or Edge have like more charts for the market. Then for example, Y Wallet might have address book and messages for using memos or visualizing memos. And then the new things that I think we're mostly lacking is hardware wallet support, which is having to cope with entering the gates of Trezor and Ledger, those manufacturers that are really in control of the platform. So that's kind of a challenge there, right?
Yes, we only have two majorly supported hardware wallets, and we have actually funded both of those efforts, and we are still yet to get real end-user, easy-to-use shielded Zcon hardware wallets. So the Y Wallet developers did release the advanced side-loading version, where you can actually use the shielded Zec support. But I'm more towards the end-user and easy-to-use approaches, and I want to see shielded Zec support on the app stores of Trezor and Ledger.
Yeah, and something really important that it would be good to have in our wallets is the switching to the custom server. Since like Nighthawk has released their public infrastructure that provides like access to like regional instances of LiveWallet, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, this year we launched the distributed global infrastructure. We have 4 different continents to provide low latency for our users around the world, and not only our users, but it's a public infrastructure for Zcash. So we have more than 30 projects that use our infra as confirmed on GitLab and GitHub code bases. It is really a unique experience, especially for those who have been into crypto for a while, to run their own node and then connect to their own IP address. That way, they know for sure that no one else is learning about which transactions information they are fetching. And also, they can broadcast transactions from their own cloud server using VPN or Tor setups. And that also increases the number of nodes in the network, because at Zcash, we do have a low number of mainnet nodes running.
Yeah, I think that with the launch of Zira, we will start to see a lot of like more servers. It's really easier than, it's friendlier. It will build in more platforms than Zcash, and also the integration with LiveWallet is kind of like seamless. So I guess that it's time to run a party, run your node party.
Node party, we gotta do that, yeah.
You have to do that. And then like other recovery key methods, like something that is lacking. It has been trending up, the thing that if you lose the words, the funky words, you lose everything. Like I'm an experienced developer, but every time I go out or I travel or something, I'm not sure like if I need someone to recover my keys for me, how would they manage to do that, and or if they need to rely on a third party to do it, is also like super insecure. So this other key, like social recovery, like safe custodials or crypto angels or whatever they are called, could be something that we should explore.
Maybe once we have the Frost support enabled, there will be ways of a multi-sig wallet.
Yeah, it would be something that will be really cool to explore. All right, so I think this is the first part of the workshop. And now, I guess that we want to proceed with the brainstorming session.
Yes, yeah, we do want to invite Joël Valenzuela, who's been an active crypto advocate and living off crypto since 2015. And he's going to help us brainstorm some ideas and also include audience over here.
Yeah, so if the audience wants to just like come up a little bit closer, and we will be just like brainstorming ideas to make Zcash UX cool and great.
Yeah, we do want to know all kinds of your dream wallet. What features do you want to see in that? And of course, we have to consider those trade-offs. There's novice versions of a wallet, there's the advanced version of a wallet, but we still want to know what is it that we are missing.
Yeah, totally. So let's do it. Welcome, Joel. Hello. Hello.
all there taking notes.
So I
Yeah.
think we have the markers there. So maybe you start with your brief experience with Zcash wallets. What have you seen till now, and compared to your experience with other cryptocurrencies, and what do you see differentiating factors or what we are lacking?
So generally speaking, with Zcash wallets, obviously a big adoption hurdle has been I have to use a different one every few months because one of them breaks or whatever. And obviously, we've kind of beat that with a stick for so long. It's pretty clear. One thing I appreciate about Zcash wallets is that they tend to be simple in that you get it and there's a very simple send receive and there you go. And that's one thing I think has been sort of lost in crypto is a wallet was supposed to be like a payment app. And then over time when no one used it for payments, all these apps ended up being kind of like investment apps LARPing as payment apps. And so they just end up not, like one of my number one, I guess, critiques is how long does it take for you to get from pressing the app button to actually make a payment? Okay. And that's one of those ones that's like, and I literally stopwatch it, time, and how long does it take to do it? Because I do literally buy my coffee with crypto. And when I go into a place, it's like, all right, this is how much it is. I'm just like, and there's like 10 people behind me, and I'm starting to sweat, and it's like, it's brutal. And so, number one, the speed to make payment. Adi actually showed me something today about how to basically prompt it to go to the QR code screen before you even open the app. What was that called again?
It's quick actions. I think both Apple and iOS, Apple and Android platforms support it. So if you long tap the app icon, you can see a shortcuts where some apps might support a quick action to open the QR code scanner. That way you can send a payment. Yeah,
and I think, the Dash wallet that I tend to use the most often has that feature. I didn't even know that, by the way, in all my years of using it. And now it's like, I think in the future, every app that wants to be serious as a wallet app needs to have that feature. You need to be able to just skip right to what you want. Because when we're thinking about these kinds of apps, it's whether or not it's binary whether or not a user will use it. It's either it works for them or no. And a lot of times, if the Zcash wallet is on the wrong side of the binary, that means Zcash doesn't get used at all. Just not at all. They're like, now I'll not do that. And so speed to actual, it's not just speed, but also simplicity of getting there. So for example, one thing, we're speaking to the user with a language. And the language is little icons and buttons and arrows and things. And so for example, if the send and receive button, they should pop out somewhere. The longer the user's eyes take to go find each half second that passes is a greater % chance they just give up on the app completely and just don't even touch it. So you have to have simplicity in operating the wallet. One thing that I've found, this is something I really like about the Bitcoin.com wallet. I don't really like it that much these days, but one thing I like about it is the ability to create accounts, like sub-accounts in the wallet, which because of the way, because of shielding and stuff with Zcash, it's easier to do like a static address. But like, for example, work money, and business money, personal money, or like personal money tips, or whatever it is, being able to segment wallets, sort of segment the wallets into different things and have separate balances that you can just find a way to not commingle. And this has actually been a problem because when I get paid in Zcash, I get money to my LLC and the LLC address right there, and then I have to be really careful, and it's a pain for the key management to make sure I'm like, okay, well, I have to keep perfect accounting of this, and having that good segmentation, like I only want to send from this pocket, this pocket, that pocket. So that's, I think, extremely important. Another thing that has been it's been a big hurdle in adoption, but because, again, shielding solves so much, right? It just makes so much easier, so many problems you don't have to solve. Contact lists, I think, are imperative. You need to have a contact list. Now, the problem with contact lists is where's that data stored? How is it backed up? If you lose your phone and you put the recovery phrase in or whatever, how do you get your contacts back? That's always the challenge, but that's a separate challenge. But it would be nice to have a contact page where you have all your contacts and
Yes.
be able to kind of scroll down and do that.
Yeah, there's currently some functionality around like being able to store contacts through memos. But there's a problem with that. I think that was mentioned on Taylor's security recap. That everyone should watch that. It was yesterday, where, for example, if I tell you I can run an attack where you two know each other and have your contacts through the wallet, through memos, but I can actually send you a memo. I can send Addy a memo saying that, hey, this is Joel, and send my address, and then do the same the other way around and send my address. So I would be like being the man in the middle and also like getting the money.
Yeah, of course.
And I think that something that we are missing is like the ability, it's specified on the SIBs with the ability of signing the memos, like attaching signatures to memos to be able to validate that the sender is who you think it is. Like, because otherwise, relying on memos that are unsigned is kind of risky.
Yeah, I mean, there's challenges around doing it in the perfect way, but obviously don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, because most wallets, or a lot of wallets, have an address book of some kind, but having it to where you can actually add in like not only like name and address, but when you actually open the contact, it filters your transaction history by that address, sending and receiving to that address that you have in the contact. Because that's one of the most annoying things, because like I literally pay for my organic meat from the local farm in crypto as well. As I'm scrolling through the things, I'm like, hey, did I pay you for last month? And scrolling through pages of transactions and seeing an amount that might look right, and like, it's such a pain. It'd be so much better to just be like, history with this address.
I agree.
And then you just filter, and it's just like, all right, I paid every time. Yeah, Paul.
Generally breaks with most protocol because the addresses change. Would it be better to simply tag your transactions and then search for that tag?
Yes, that would be better. Now, as I mentioned,
The question was, wouldn't it be better to tag these
Yes.
transactions since crypto addresses change? Yeah.
yes, that's maybe a perfect or an improvement over the thing.
On the other hand, we can still rely on a single shielded address for
Yes.
Zcash, because none of the transactions can be viewed by anyone.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about it. A lot of these problems become easier to solve with a shielded address, because I can just have one shield address for Paul, like a unified address, and then it just, every single time I use that, keep track of it. Whereas if you use something like Bitcoin or Dash or whatever, and it's a new address every time, that just doesn't work at all. Unless you just decide to have zero privacy and just have a static address, in which case that doesn't work. But it's easier with shielded, yeah?
You gave the example of a store that you go to, and almost all payment processors will rotate an address just for the sake of knowing who received the money. So even in that case, if they were to support Zcash, you get an address rotation.
Yeah, in this case, we were just an individual small vendor who I know, and so they can have a static address for that kind of thing. And also like a peer-to-peer payment, right? It's just like you pay rent money to your roommate or whatever in Zcash all the time. Then you have one contact, one thing, and then just, you can scroll, and then the wallet says May payment, June payment, July, September. Oh, I didn't pay you for August. Okay, you can just see it right like that, instead of having to go down memory lane, scroll down all your transactions, and be like, that looks like the amount, but then the exchange rate changed, and I don't recognize that amount right away. And then people are like, I'm not going to use crypto at all. Back to PayPal.
Correct. But there seems to be a demand for a finance-based app where you can tag transactions, like that has been brought up. So
Yeah, but just the simple ability to sort by an address, and obviously there's edge cases, or even, no pun intended, but there's some edge cases, but just that would make it super easy. I forget which Zcash wallets have just a memo field, or just a memo screen of all your memos. Was it Y Wallet? I don't
Yeah, it's White Wallet. It's a messages tab.
Yeah, and that's useful. And if you have a contacts tab, also you can see all the memos. The encrypted memo is fantastic, a fantastic protocol level feature because it just allows me to remember what I sent money for. It's just like, oh, this person paid me. Did that person pay me yet? Oh yeah, here it is, it says. And so I have to say my very favorite and most commonly used crypto wallet of all time is Signal. You know why? Because wallets have so little information about surrounding a transaction details that for me, most of the communication happens on Signal. I say, hey, thanks for covering dinner last night. How much do I owe you? And then they tell me, and they say, send an address. There goes the address, copy paste into the wallet. Did you get it confirmed? All that. And so I'd like to find a way to move as much of that activity out of Signal and into the actual wallet itself. At that point, it's just like, all right, you go to, say, Paul, hey, Paul, thanks. And you say, thanks for dinner, send it to there, and now we get to like, oh, did I ever pay him back for dinner? Because, it was a crazy night, we went out and fun. It's Barcelona, come on, great time. And then you forget, and then you look in the morning, you're scrolling through, and you're like, oh yeah, there's that encrypted memo transaction to Paul, paying him back for, I did get him. And if you don't see it, then it's just like, you run into him at coffee, hey Paul, I forgot to pay you back for last night. And then that fixes it there.
So we are almost out of time. Would you still like to share one of your favorite features you would like to see in a Zcash wallet?
I think I got most of those. Now, there's been some talk about encrypted messaging, and I don't know enough about how that would actually work, but imagine if you had a Signal-style messenger with your wallet. That's the holy grail of social payments, because we pay people, not addresses, is to have actual communication in the wallet so you don't have to juggle, or when you forget transaction details, you don't have to okay, let me open this other app and scroll in. Just all right there.
So any sort of messaging that happens with shielded messaging, the challenge there is it's on a permanent ledger. So any message that you send is going to be permanently there. And if the viewing key or the address ever gets leaked,
Then your whole thing is there.
Forever imprinted. So
Yeah.
that restricts your use cases.
Yeah, what might be nice is in the contact thing, where you have contact address. It might help to have social buttons that open external apps like Twitter, and you hit it and it opens up their Twitter profile. And then I communicate with this person on Signal, and it for whatever. Just you don't have to build it into the app itself, but it links to wherever you do it. Just whatever gives them the fewest things to think about while trying to actually use this as money.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Joel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks all.
We've run out of time. Thank you very much, everybody, to giving you your opinions, and I hope you enjoyed it. And well, I'll see you in the rest of Zcon.